This is 5 on your side at 5. Focused on you.
We begin at 5 with breaking news. Let's take a live look from the scene of a crash involving 5 cars in St. Louis. The crash happened on North Broadway in Humboldt. This is a little over an hour ago. The St. Louis Fire Department says multiple people were hurt. Some people had to be rescued. Good evening. Thank you for being with us. I'm Ann Albright.
And I'm Kelly Jackson. Just into our newsroom, we are learning that 2 people are critically injured, 2 are in serious condition, and 3 other people have non-life-threatening injuries. We do have a crew there right now, and we will update you with information as we learn more.
Across the country, people are going to know that the UAW is ready to stand up for our communities and ready to stand up against corporate greed.
That was the message from the president of the United Auto Workers Union as the ongoing strike expanded today. Now 38 locations in 20 states are joining the 3 plants already on strike. The union has been striking against the big 3 for a little over a week now.
That strike started at locations in Ohio, Michigan, and the GM plant right here in our area. 5 on your side's Tracy Hinson joins us live near that plant in Wentzville at the UAW Union Hall.
Alrighty, Ann and Kelly, and I'm actually just out of the strike line, just a few blocks from that Union Hall. But even though the announcement today from UAW President Sean was not about getting these workers back into the building, the morale on the picket line is still strong. Now, the briefing from UAW President Shawn Fain might have been a little disheartening for GM employees, like the ones on strike here in Wentzville. Fain gave an update on negotiations and said Ford has come to the table and agreed on a few points, but GM has rejected all union proposals centered around job security, temporary employees, and profit sharing. I spoke with UAW Local 2250 President Katie Dethridge, and she was a little surprised by GM's reaction to union proposals.
We're just asking for our fair share. So for them to not be willing to negotiate on some of the stances, it does kind of surprise me. I've been here 20 years, over 20 years in this with General Motors, and I have not seen this kind of negotiations before.
Now, of the 38 plants to join the strike efforts, not an additional one was from the 5 on your side coverage area, so that leaves Wentzville here. Now, as far as reaction from the Detroit 3, Ford, GM, and Stellantis, we have not heard anything, but previously they have said they can't afford to meet the union's demands because they need to invest in profits in a costly transition from gas-powered to electric vehicles. In Wentzville, Tracy Hinson, 5 on your side.
Soon, area nurses will also strike, demanding better working conditions. On Monday, National Nurses United said they will picket for 24 hours at St. Louis University Hospital. SSM Health says the nurses union has declined to respond to their current proposals on wage issues. The nurses say their demands are not being met, citing concerns over staffing, patient care, and workplace violence. The union did give the hospital 10 days to prepare staffing for the strike.
And we have an update on the strikes in Hollywood. The studios and the Writers Union are negotiating again. An agreement could be close between the Writers Guild and the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers. The strike has put the entertainment industry on hold for months, halting productions. WGA members have been on strike since early May. Actors are still on strike and far from common ground with the studios. Tonight, police are still trying to fill in the gaps on their timeline of how a convicted child predator spent his 16 hours of freedom. Tommy Wayne Boyd escaped yesterday while being treated at Mercy South Hospital. Just a few hours ago, Christine Byers talked to a St. Louis County police commander about how police tracked him down and what they still want to know.
Applying for a job, hitchhiking, and eating a hot dog at a voter registration event. Those are some of the peculiar ways St. Louis County Police say Tommy Wayne Boyd spent his 16 hours on the run Thursday. And investigators are still trying to account for every step he took in order to rule out whether he hurt anyone else along the way. It began at about 4 a.m. Thursday when 45-year-old convicted child predator Tommy Wayne Boyd stole a handcuff key from a guard who fell asleep. State and local law enforcement sources tell me he then stole the guard's jacket and walked out while the second guard went to the bathroom. From there, police say he hitched a ride into South St. Louis from a stranger at a gas station across the street from the hospital. He went into a convenience store along Arsenal near Tower Grove Park and asked for a job application. At 10 a.m., he took this selfie with a woman that police tracked down on social media. At about 1 o'clock, he went to a voter registration event at Tower Grove Park where police say he had a hot dog and answered some surveys. Just before 8 p.m., a woman called police reporting he was in Shrewsbury, and they arrested him at Deerbergs. Lieutenant Colonel Jason Law says even though he's in custody, there's still more to do.
What he was in prison for is a very serious crime, and we want to make sure if there's any victims out there that they contact the St. Louis County Police and let us know their story. We're still trying to hammer out the timeline for sure. We just need to know from the public if there's any information that they have that would help us complete the timeline.
Now, the Missouri Department of Corrections did not make anyone available for an interview today, but issued a statement confirming both of the guards involved in this situation are no longer employed by the state. Boyd was serving a 30-year sentence that began in 2007, and Lieutenant Colonel Law says his officers will soon apply for charges related to his escape, and that will likely keep him behind bars for much longer.
All right, Christine, thanks. Hours ago, St. Louis County announced crews will officially begin demolition to the old Jamestown Mall next week. The abandoned North County Mall closed in 2014 and has been an eyesore ever since. County leaders say dozens of developers have expressed interest in the property. Demolition starts Wednesday. It should be finished by next summer.
It's another beautiful day in the bi-state. Tomorrow is the first day of fall, but temperatures are like summertime.
Yeah, Weather First meteorologist Gary Frank has more and the Weather First forecast as we head into the weekend.
Yeah, some of us are getting some rain right now. Look at Belleville. It's been raining pretty good on the Metro East side. In some cases on the Missouri side, not so much. It's very, very dry, and we're going to see things start to settle down a little bit. Here's what it's looked like over the last couple of hours as you've seen that right over the river into the Metro East, and some pretty good rain, but you'll notice the trend has started to fall apart. I'll circle that area really right over Creve Coeur and Bridgeton. It's just a little bit of a boundary. I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple of more showers develop along that, but we've had some pretty good thunderstorms now here from Belleville all the way to Hecker, and that's an area that got some rain. We also have it from Melville and South County. This is what we're going to deal with the next couple of hours as long as the sun is up, as temperatures holding steady at 80. We got to 87 today this evening. Chances are winding down for all your evening plans. It's still a bit muggy. You probably don't need that jacket. Temps not going to drop like they had the last few Friday nights. We'll time out the rain not only today, but over the next couple of days and talk about how close to a record we may get this weekend.
The St. Louis City Assessor joins the Board of Aldermen's efforts to change how short-term rentals operate in the city. 5 Under Sign's political editor Mark Maxwell is here to break down these changes. Mark.
And we expect to see a renewed push to crack down on short-term rental properties at the Board of Aldermen as early as next week. But in the meantime, the city assessor is tracking down these properties one-on-one, and if no one lives in them, reclassifying them as commercial properties. We went to City Hall to learn more about that process. It turns out it's not very easy to find and identify these short-term rentals. Many of them listed online are owned by people who still live there. The city's not targeting those properties. But the ones where owners might live out of town and churn people through year-round, they could get a letter in the mail from the assessor. He showed us just how his staff scours through the online listings, then pairs them with identifying images in those neighborhoods, trying to guess and assess them at a higher tax rate.
So what happens is we move it from residential to commercial. It goes from 19% to 32%. On the tax rate. And then not only does it go to 32%, but then there's a commercial surcharge that's added on there. So when it's all said and done, their tax bill doubles.
The assessor says his office has already located hundreds of these properties, says there could still be hundreds, maybe thousands more. Police records also show a string of shootings or disturbances at these types of unregistered properties over this summer, adding to that urgency for the city to intervene. More on that tonight at 6.